there is a saving component. If you borrow 1,000 shillings, 50 shillings mandatory goes to your saving. And we estimate, our estimation from the technocrats is that we should be able to save about 30 billion shillings every year on that platform.
The head of state also indicated that the funds will be available online, with no paperwork required, taking a swipe on leaders who had planned for disbursement of the said funds.
The product is going to be seamless. You will not go to you will not need any paperwork. You will not need any committee. You do not need to know anybody. The product will be online, just like M-Pesa. I know many members here were already arranging to form committees on how to disburse the Hustler Fund. I have seen messages on my phone. So, Mheshimiwa, tuko tayari kabisa, tumepanga committee.
Ian Keitani, Lookuptv.
At least 3 people, including a vendor, were confirmed dead in the Kasarani building collapse. Appearing at the scene, Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja promised to take action against the rogue developer. According to the Land and Housing Cabinet Secretary Zakaria Njeru, who was also at the scene, the developer had been warned. Shadrack Kareria recounts the events that happened yesterday.
These were the sceneries at Seasons areas in Kasarani, Nairobi. Rescue operation continued for the second day as rescuers combed through the rubble with undying hope to retrieve more people. Appearing at the scene, Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja directed the police to deal at large.
First of all, the developer must be charged in court. In fact, Waziri, we will ask the police, the DCI, to find that developer. Who knows he should not be building a building in this way. The standards of materials are wrong. He did not get any permit from the county. There was an enforcement notice. But because of impunity, decided to go on. He needs to be charged with murder, because that is murder.
Cabinet Secretary for Land and Housing, Zakaria Njeru, stated that despite National Construction Authority stopping the construction of the collapsed building, the developer went ahead objecting to the orders.
Here, the National Construction Authority walikuwa hapa jana na wakaisimamisha asubuhi, na hiyo ilikuwa mara ya 10 kuisimamisha, lakini kwa sababu ambayo haieleweki, hata baada ya jumba lenyewe kusimamishwa linaendelea.
Sakaja stated that he will end corruption and impunity in Nairobi County for what he said has been hailing the construction sector in the city.
This is caused by corruption and impunity. We pass our condolences and our sympathies, and we'll find a way to support those families. But this must be an example, because many such constructions that are going on in Nairobi that have been happening. This building had an enforcement notice starting from last year.
The joint operation saw 6 people saved from the building, as 3 people, including a vendor, died.
Some have been treated and discharged from hospital. Some are admitted at Kenyatta National Hospital.
By the time of filing this report, about 4 more people were still trapped under the rocks.
Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja and the Land and Housing CAs have said that they are going to ensure that such occasion does not occur again in Nairobi County and any other part of the country. Reporting for Lookuptv from Kasarani, Nairobi County, my name is Shadrack Kareria.
There was drama in court after a lawyer assaulted a businessman whose wife he was representing in a child upkeep case between the estranged couple in a matter before the court. Our reporter Priska brings us this report.
The scenery and corridors of justice are well accustomed to all manner of verbal wars, drama, and even tears flooding the courtroom. But they were treated to an exchange of blows hardly witnessed within the civilized, poised, and proper premises of the law courts. The lawyer Robert Asembo assaulted the husband of his client whom he is representing in a child upkeep case, where the wife is said to be demanding $600,000 as upkeep from the businessman. Following the drama, Magistrate Mbogo adjourned the hearing of the matter to a later date. Pris Kanjeri, Lookuptv.
It's not a laughing matter. It's not. The entire thing. The lawyers are called fellow learned friend. And they know the rule of law, that you're not supposed to take matters into your hands, because then you might start another case when you're handling a case. Is that? Anyway, the European Union has applauded the country's performance in the just concluded general elections, despite the split of IEBC commissioners. Senior EU officials complimented the electoral body and security backed in the polls without the usual disruption.
The European Union has given its feedback in the just concluded August general election. Senior EU officials have stated that the elections were carried out in tandem to the expectations and asked the government to embrace technology in voting in the upcoming days.
You have mentioned that they were largely peaceful. There was an absence of physical conflict. And I think also being a woman myself, and women's participation in elections is a big priority for the EU around the world, just as participation of youth and people with disabilities is something we generally promote. We also noticed this absence of physical violence targeting women and an absence of SGBV, which we were extremely pleased to note. But in the online space, there was a lot of harassment and verbal.
These emerged during the third National Legal Aid Conference on Access to Justice, organized by UNDP and Egerton University, where Line Urban, the manager of the program, has called on stakeholders to address the issues of social media bullying, education levels, and mental status of candidates for the elections, terming the current standards as too high.
In space, there was a lot of harassment and verbal insults and strong language used, both among different candidates, but a lot of it was really targeting female candidates and their supporters.
Voiced his concern regarding executive meddling and the introduction of dubious measures throughout every election year. However, the lawmaker pointed out that the nation had advanced significantly in the democratic realm.
On that front, we moved very far. I only have two quarrels with it, which I would want to put to you. Fear of corruption creeping back, especially on election matters, is there. There are a lot of fears about corruption playing a role, and this sometimes is very open gossip.
Ochieng has also raised concerns that corruption was still making its way into the halls of justice and pointed an accusing finger at the judiciary. However, in his defense, Justice Hilary Chemitei said that the judiciary was impartial, adding that accessibility to justice was better compared to years back.
Said we are an open book. The issue of integrity is not so much really a worry to us, because basically we are within the laws, we are following the laws, we understand the issue of ethics, we have our ethics which we follow. If, for instance, there is one or two, then I think those are isolated cases. But as far as the judiciary is concerned, I can confidently say that we are working within the books, within the ethics, and within the parameters.
Professor Richard Mulwa, the Deputy Vice-Chancellor at Egerton University, observed that the country's democratic environment has advanced as seen during the elections. According to him, the country has advanced in its democratic practices because there was no violence seen before, during, or after the elections, and the transition was painless. Charity Kagwe from UNDP also spoke, noting that the organization's Legal Aid and Access to Justice program had benefited hundreds of people and has expressed gratitude for how Kenyans behaved during the campaign.
Rift Valley Institute of Science and Technology, in partnership with the Egerton University, are currently working on an innovation designed to preserve agricultural produce, which will reduce the post-harvest losses of small-scale farmers and traders and help address a loss of produce during seasons of abundance. Edwin John Mukara reports.
The innovation conserves both cereals and horticulture produce after harvesting for future consumption or for marketing during periods of high demand, hence fetching better prices. Using the technology, the produce in excess without changing its pigmentation and taste. Some are added value by grinding into flour and packaged for future use. The invention is the brainchild of Vegetable Dryer in partnership with Textiles Limited.
There is a lot of wastage in the field of post-harvest, but this is a solution. We intend to use the same in collaboration with Texas and dry our vegetables during the peak period so that we can sell them when the supply is low. And by so doing, we are going to maintain good prices for the vegetables, and we are going to liaise with the farmers.
Elsewhere, innovative performance marketing agency Idea Hive has made its inaugural launch in the East African market in a bid to provide data-driven technology to create unique, insightful, brand strategic and marketing campaigns for clients.
And the potential partners for the future.
The marketing firm's plans for expansion into the region are ongoing go-to agencies for customer experience, insights and content development in South Africa and throughout Africa.
Any marketing solution led by data and insights is trackable, it's measurable. So they should be able and will be able to see where their money goes, the audience that they're targeting, who are they, what are their preferences, where they spend their money, and things like that. So when you package your content and deploy, you're not just shooting in the dark. But in this case, it's quite niche. Exactly the audience your products will be going to.
American tech mogul Bill Gates in the country on a philanthropic visit under the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation that is aiding the continent in various projects in health, agriculture, education, food security and climate change. This comes a few days after the Microsoft founder announced 170 billion shillings donation to mitigate climate change. Gates is expected to hold a series of public engagements and meet government officials and other stakeholders in the private sector. Edwin John Mukora, Look Up Business.
Now, Safari rally driver Karan Patel has been named the November Sports Person of the Month. Patel was awarded the Sports Journalists Association of Kenya SJAC after Safari Rally Championships that took place in Lusaka, Zambia. Patel won ahead of athlete Ruth Chepngetich, who retained top spot at the in 2 hours and 14 minutes and 18 seconds.
It's quite an honor, given that there's a lot of this is a whole association of journalists, and there's a lot of people who have put in their hard work and efforts to publicize what we do and rallying as a whole. And Kenya is benefiting a lot from the Safari Rally, so it's an honor for me to be receiving the award on behalf of them and LG. Yeah, I mean. I'm always motivated. There's still a lot of motivation in me for me to push harder and further. We've not reached, or personally I don't feel I've reached where I want to be in the sport, and there's definitely a big drive inside me to further extend what we've accomplished so far.
I'm William Kamore here at LG Electronics. I'm in charge of content and training. So in awarding every month. So in 2022, this is the 10th award we have, and it's usually very competitive. Like we get to see, like there was a lot of competition from athletics to even handball to motorsports. And Karan Patel, what he has been able to do is show consistently throughout this year how persistence and hard work.
Artillery Embakasi Defense Forces retained its championship at the CDF Handball Championships held at the Ulinzi Sports Complex. Embakasi defeated Nairobi 27-18 to become champions for the 16th time.